Hello and welcome one and all. This is Plancocat here and welcome back to Planco Catacombs. This is where we left off in episode 2 way back in November. And it's been a couple of months and there's been so much done to this park that I can't wait to show you. But I wanted to start here just so you have some reference as to how much of a change has come to this park. I hit a bit of a creative block after episode 2. We added in the wooden coaster there, and there are only a couple of rides and some shops in here so far, but the change that has taken place over the last couple of months is amazing, and I can't wait to get right to it. I don't want to waste any of your time, but I do want to show you this before, just so you can appreciate the after. So without further ado, here is what's been done for episode 3. And here is how the park is looking now as of episode 3. Absolutely tons of work, tons to show you, but this is the sight line as it stands right now. And you can already see just a couple of rides that I've added. You've got a log flume that weaves its way in and out of the mountain, and way off in the distance, you've got a pirate ship. And while those are the only 2 rides, a ton has been done toward the layout and landscaping of the park, starting with this building right here. This is the first thing that I built after episode 2, and back then I was still using the water pieces as windows, and then we had the update, we got the glass, but it's just something I threw together here. The guests, they don't use this balcony at all, but it's a nice area to come and sit and look out on the entryway as you grab a bite to eat. Not too shabby, and I still have some work to do over on this side of the park with this eating area, but if you pop inside here, you can see we've got the patio, we've got some long Viking-esque tables, and over here, of course, we have our shops. And I can't wait to get back over here now that we have the newest update with the video billboards, and I think those would really pop. I definitely want to work those in behind these countertops here. But yeah, you've just got some coffee, pizza, gulpy, and of course, a spot for vegans. On the back side here of this, I did put in a train. So I lied, I put in 3 rides. I guess you could consider the train a ride. But I did put in a train around my park. Here's a turnaround over here. I kind of have an idea with what I want to do with that. Haven't touched this station at all, or the other station, which I'll show you in a bit. But I have touched the 3rd station, which you can kind of see off in the distance there. But yes, I did add this train station and incorporated it into this mountain. This was fun. So at the end of the path, as you watch the train go by, you remember at the end of episode 2, I had no idea, I had all this empty space, and it was intimidating. And I was like, how am I going to fill this? I need some kind of focal point. And this absolutely sells it. I mean, this accomplishes exactly what I set off to do. And great timing there with the train going across. I love the bridge that I put in here, the waterfalls, and we'll get to the log flume in a bit, but I'm just, every time I come back over here, it really is, it's magnificent. This was over the holidays, and I was like, you know what, let me just start landscaping, playing around with those tools, and I've gotten a lot better at it. But yeah, as you can see, I kind of finished off the entrance area, added in the mountain, there's the log flume, and if we wind around this way, I don't really have anything over here. I put in this flat ride just so I can, you know, see what would happen if I ran an advertisement if I had 3 flat rides. So that's not going to stay. This area of the park is not done. You can see this train station is not done at all, but that's the path that the train takes. It's really cool when it matches up with the roller coaster over here. You kind of get them going on this same bit of track over here. But this area of the park I have not touched yet. I have some ideas of what I want to do, but that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to take a look at this expansion. So I added in the railway. It also goes through the mountain and under the log flume, as you can see there, the waterfall, and this was really fun to do, and these maps and the foliage are absolutely beautiful. I loved pulling together this bridge. This is just probably a couple dozen of those arced wooden pieces. That's all those are, you know, half circles, and then I met them in the middle, copied them a bunch of times just to create that arc, and it really did pull that together. I think that's just a great look. I borrowed this retaining wall, this fence over from the entrance to the park, and then I kind of did the same thing with a bridge over here. I don't know if this is going to stay. It's kind of a tight fit. Not a big fan of it, but I do have, as you saw there, 2 trains running across this bridge. One comes from the train station we just saw. off to the left. The other goes into the mountain to the third station, goes through the mountain. And I still need to finish off these train tunnels here in the mountain. But I did get the log flume tunnels done. Speaking of things that I got done, I got this done over here. This little, I don't know what you want to call it, incline, this ramp up. Because, I wanted to play with some elevation that was feeling like a flat park. And so I threw this in here. I did the same thing over here. All right, this is just a smaller version of what you've just seen. But this is how guests would get up to this eating area up here. And the train station as well. And I really like that. I was playing around with the paths and the way that the rocks and the foliage and the trees kind of just set that into the hillside. I really enjoyed that, so I wanted to replicate it on a larger scale over here. And that's exactly what I did. Yeah, really loved it. Threw a couple of rocks down, had some fun playing with the terrain and putting the water in. I love this rough water. It looks a lot better than the clear water, especially for this type of park. But as you make your way up that path, you come to, boy, I had a blast pulling this together. I always knew I wanted some kind of a bridge, but not a bridge, almost like a pier or something that would go over and cross the water, but also contain a couple of buildings. Not to mention I had to find a way to finish off the log flume. So I said, you know what, let's combine the two and just create almost like a Viking fishing village, right? Something that's on the water. And man, I love pulling these buildings together. They just started off as a couple of rectangles and some squares and, you know, as placeholders for what I wanted to do. But I did want it to sit over something grand and spectacular, which brings us to these waterfalls. Man, I've done a lot. Going back over this, I have done a lot in the last couple of months. But I wanted a showstopper. I had the waterfalls on the other mountain, Mount Erickson, by the way. But I wanted something grander, something at the edge of the park that guests would enjoy, that they would marvel at. And I wanted this pier to sit over these waterfalls, these cascading levels of waterfalls. And so you can see underneath the pier here, right, it's just sitting over like these pools of water and rock. You've got a little waterfall there, you've got a tiny one here, you've got one right here, right on the edge of this larger building, and it kind of the upper level kind of juts out onto the higher rock formation there. And then you just have all of these smaller waterfalls, almost like it's just cascading from one level to the next, to the next, to the next, and then all the way up. And so when you're down at guest level, this is exactly what I wanted here. Right, you come up to the edge and you look out and you can hear the thunder of the falls, and you can see the mist and feel the mist as you're standing here. And I definitely did not want to block that, so I kept this side open, and I love this view. I love this view. You get down into the mist and you can see the water down below as the people cross over the pier or the bridge, whatever you want to call it. You know, I'm just going to go back and forth between the two. But yeah, pulling these buildings together was really fun. And then stroke of genius with ending the water ride right here. The log flume, I love that. You could just sit here and watch people zip on by. And if you're on the ride, I didn't want to rob you of that view as well, because I mean, if you're on this log flume, you're in and out and on top of the other mountain, but then you get this last minute view at the very end of the ride. Not to mention as you head through this village as well, you get kind of the best of both worlds. And that brings us over, there we go, to the log flume. So this is how the station's looking, and I really had fun doing the loading and unloading stations. I wanted this to look exactly like this from guest level on the other side of this lake, and you can, you know, you have these two buildings kind of dominating the skyline, but it's not too tall, right? You could still see the pirate ship there in the background. Well, I get Viking ship, I guess. You could still see the Viking ship in the background, and I love that sight line as well as this one, and you can still see that massive wall of water in the back, and this is exactly the view that I wanted. Again, there's not much in the middle here. I really have to work on making this through path come to life, because right now it's just a way to get from the front of the park to this section over here. But this is how the log flume station is looking. I still need a name for this, by the way. Definitely need a name for this log flume. But that's the unloading station, and this is the loading station. And I had a lot of fun throwing together this entire mountain and this entire area. And as you can see, here's the final ride that I've put in, Scandinavia. Love the name, Scandinavia, and I really had a lot of fun putting a skin on this ride, which is something I didn't do a lot of in Planet Coaster 1, but in Planet Coaster 2, I really wanted to play around with that, especially since we can add things to the rides now and have them move along with the rides. And so you could see, obviously, I've put a mast right there in the middle. I've put a head and a tail on the ship as well. And then just decked it out in this beautiful rockwork, which has become my favorite piece in this park. I use this piece as often as I can. You saw it on the station for the log flume. You see it here on this boat ride. You see it over here in the queue line. And so I really had a lot of fun pulling that together. And this is available on the workshop, by the way. And this is all one ride. So it comes with the scenery in the front. It comes with the scenery in the back too. These trees here as well. And at night they light up and the ride lights up, and it looks really cool. So that is on the workshop. So make sure you search Plancocat. Look for Scandinavia. Great name. Love the name. But yeah, that's our flat ride. I think our last ride that we spotlighted. And I love the way that this just, zooms right over the queue line for the log flume. In this area, because this is episode 3, I'm working on episode 5 right now. Wait until episode 4, because this area right here really comes to life. I've always known what I wanted to put here. It is a roller coaster. If you're following me on Instagram, you already know what it looks like. If you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you do, because the pictures of what is here are amazing. But it is going to be a roller coaster. It is a multi-launch coaster, and it really does finish off this area very nicely. But on to Mount Erickson. And we'll finish with a ride on the log flume, but this was a joy to put together. So you start with, of course, a lift hill here, and you kind of wind your way to begin. And I love all the different pockets of peace you get as you ride. You're out of one tunnel, and then, you're kind of cut off from the rest of the park. It's nice and quiet down here. And at night, this is great, the way it lights up with the green flames, and it's very quiet, right? But then you go through the tunnel again, and you're exposed, right? You're on the face of the mountain. You get a view of the entire park from on the ride, and it looks stunning. And from the front, I love this. This is the jetty piece that I put around the edges of the channel here, and man, it gives it that authentic log flume feel, right? That's exactly what I wanted. And then you head into the tunnel here, right around here. This was really fun to do as well. I love the rune pieces. Threw a couple of spotlights in there, kind of melted the rune pieces into the inside of the mountain. Then you're back out again, and then you're back in the mountain again, right? You go through and you've got another quiet pocket of foliage and flame. It's great. Then you come into your first drop here, and you're clear on the other side of the mountain at this point. You're over by the other train station, which we'll take a look at right now. Yeah, this was really fun to do. I wanted to, again, use that jetty piece and bring it over into the design of this station. Now, this station is going to serve as the station that serves the water park. That's what's going to come over here. That's going to be the water park. And, of course, further in the distance, you'll have the parking lot. But on this side of the mountain will be the water park, just like the other side of the mountain is going to be the theme park. So the mountain is kind of your fork in the road, right? You've got your right and your left. So this is where the water park's going to be. And right now, train station is broken down. Right now, this is not connected to anything, so the guests don't come over here. But I do keep a mechanic over here for emergencies like this. I don't know where. I think he's taking a break right now. And this poor employee, he quit a while ago in the game, but I moved him over here so he can't leave the park. So he's very upset about that. I want to see how long he can last. But yeah, this is back to the train station, back to the log flume. This is this train station as it's looking from the inside, and once it starts to be used by the guests and is open for good, it will look awesome. But I bring that up because I love the way, great timing, I love it, the way that it interacts with the log flume, because you have your first drop here, into this lake. And you know, you've got a bit of jets coming out of the train station here. Right, you can't see it from inside the train station, but down here, right, it just feels like, you know, you're at the lowest point of the ride. And I really had a lot of fun with the foliage, the different pieces, the palisades, the jetty, the shipwreck pieces, and the different kinds of trees that I used in this building, or building this mountain, right? Because I wanted the backside of this mountain to feel like you're out in the wilderness, right? You're at the farthest point in the park as of yet, right? I mean, you're just out here. There's nothing, no paths. The train station doesn't function, and so you're really out in the middle of the woods, and that was really fun to pull together. Especially, and I think we're gonna have some. Oh yeah, there's a train right there. So you can see the train as it zips by that windmill, and this was really fun too to pull together. That's the Ericsson Express. But my favorite view, see if we can get this. It's good timing here. So if you're on the log flume and you're down here and you see the train just up above, right, just making that turn, while you're down here making a turn in the opposite direction. That's one of my favorite sight lines of this build. Oh, and there's another one. That's another great sight line. I really enjoy that. The bridge, you could see the arcs again, right? The arches again. You could see the windmill in the background, and if you time it right, you can see the pirate ship back there. But I've rambled on enough. All right, so the backside of this ride, it's a bit long because essentially you've got two giant lift hills. Now this kills the ride time. It adds so much to the ride time, and the guests, they complain all the time about how they think this ride has a long ride time. And it's because you've got to make this massive climb, but it's well worth it. And it's broken up here in the middle, and I like the way that I, again, use that beautiful Viking rock piece to frame off the climbs on the back of this hill. You can barely see them if you zoom out. It really is beautiful. But you got to turn around here, and I had a lot of fun pulling this together. You've got different sound effects. You've got the mist, you've got the fire, you've got the water, you've got the runes, right? I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it works, right? It works. It keeps you entertained while you continue your climb to the highest point of the ride. So when you're up here, you know, depending on what comes in the rest of the park, the water park, that'll be a spectacular view. Right now, it's just a bunch of old scenery pieces and what's going on with my camera? A bunch of old scenery pieces and flat land. But then you make your final entrance into the mountain, and you know, it's kind of like you're getting ready to make the big drop, and you take one last view now that you've reached the very top of the ride over the rest of the park. And once I get that middle bit together, that's going to be a nice view. And then you make your way over here and whoosh, you drop. This is a massive drop on this ride. I checked. If this were out in the real world, this would be the tallest log flume in the world. You know, I checked only by a couple of feet. It's not dramatically high, but it would be the tallest. It would be the highest. And then you make your drop, and then I've already shown you what happens when you come to the end of the ride. So that's the way the park is looking right now. I really can't wait to show you episode 4. I've already got that pretty much ready to go. I just have to film it. We will ride the log flume here, but hey, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this update. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your comments in the comment section below. This is Plancocat. Appreciate you all for coming along. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, night, wherever or whenever you are. Enjoy the ride on the log flume. Remember, I still need a name for it. Have a great day, night, goodbye.